It's not if, but when. When do we get with another biological disease? Let's see. We had Ebola. Remember Ebola coming to the United States? Yes. A couple people died. And there was a fury of hospitals getting all this stuff together. And at the borders at this point, at that point. Oh my God, it's going to kill. O'Hare Field in Chicago shut down. That's how much afraid they were going to travel around the United States. And then that crisis was over with. Swine flu was the same thing. It shut down airports around the country. Swine flu from Mexico did the same thing. Shut down airports because they didn't want to go. And what do I mean to shut down that thing? Well, swine flu happened in Mexico, and within a week it was in Seattle, New York, Chicago. Well, this pandemic did a really thing. In China, it started they figured around December 1st in China at a wet market. The first people to enter a hospital were from one apartment complex, one apartment building, and they all turned out to be the old folks. Those old folks went to the wet markets. And they filled up that thing. And they filled up these people that had the flu. And then when the people started dying, they looked at the lungs and they found out that this isn't the flu. This is one of the COVID things. And by that time, the hospitals figure out they had that thing. They had people start coming in. All the old folks. It turned out to be the old folk disease. And it was, yes. Few young people got it, but mostly the old folks got it because they got it from the wet market. It was a spillover from an animal. I think they identified it. It wasn't bats. Bats may have given to the animal, which in turn gave it to the human. It moves from a bat to an animal to a human. And you're talking wet markets, and if you've ever been to a Chinese wet market, I hope you have a strong stomach. They eat everything. Yeah. So far, cannibalism doesn't go great in China, but they do eat everything else. And, okay. And Donald Trump put a squish on the traveling from China to the United States, but he didn't do a squish from anything coming from Europe. And that disease moved from that to Italy, then across Wuhan, China to a place in Italy with a destination point because of manufacturing. And rest is history. Yeah. Could you have prevented from coming into the United States? No. You would have slowed it down. And the reason you could slow it down, the same people infected moved to Canada and Mexico. You would just slow it down. Were we prepared for it? No. But I had my masks. So as soon as I heard of that thing, I said, oh, it's coming here. And so I went out and got the 3M, the little pink stuff, painter's masks, they're called. And, oh yeah, I got a couple of those and extra ones, things like that, when they were cheap. Getting them nowadays is almost impossible, but you can still buy them. Of course, the price has tripled, but and then you got the little mask. I have that. Oh yes, yeah. I made my little masks, and you got the instructions to make your own little mask and a little sewing machine out that thing, and no. And then everybody started making masks, and now you can go to Amazon and get them for almost nothing. They can't give them away. Yeah, I've been at places where they had boxes giving away boxes of masks or hand sanitizer. I never said that for that thing. But are we prepared for the next one? Very likely not. Because there's one thing about rubber gloves. Okay, everybody get rubber gloves. They're basically packaged to last a year, and then they start sticking to each other and falling apart. They're an oil product. Oh, are all gloves? Well, might get these great big black industrial gloves, you know, the ones electricians would use for handling hot wires. Look, the cable is down. You can pick it up with this. Yeah. But are we prepared for the next one? No. Are we going to be prepared for the next one? Well, N95 masks, hospitals ordered 10,000 of them, and they're sitting over there. They also found a way to sanitize the masks because they were that expensive to buy. But they still wear an N95 mask in the hospital. Well, of course, the little cloth ones do. But that's basically to handle bigger droplets. That's not just handle COVID-19. That's handle all the other stuff we humans bring into a hospital. And that could be extensive. You can find yourself in intensive care very, very easy, depending on what you have. Measles is a thing. That's a contagious. And another thing to worry about is polio. Now, maybe you say, well, polio's from the 50s. We got to eradicate it. But you can still find it. You can find it in Africa. You can find it in Afghanistan. So anybody coming from Afghanistan could have it. Oh, you mean those 170,000 people that came in the United States when the Taliban took over? Yes. And is polio raging in that thing? Yeah. The United States, when they went in there, vaccinated villagers for polio and all the other diseases, that thing. That's one of our things that we did in Afghanistan, outside of drilling wells. Why? Because what the Taliban did was to blow up the water wells of villages that didn't have members of their village in the Taliban. They would blow up the wells. They blow up the schools. They would kill leaders. And so what did we do? All the little villages, we gave them pickup trucks. We drilled wells for them. We vaccinated everyone for 20 years. We vaccinated everybody. The villages that we could get into, we vaccinated for polio. You know, just a little polio, because our troops were there, our people were there, civil affairs were there. Polio is still a threat to the United States. You know, somebody says, why did you go to war with Iraq? They had a biological lab. Envy of the CDC, you might say. Guy had plagues. Guy used anthrax against his own people, besides chemical weapons, against the Kurds. Yeah. Where did he get anthrax from? Russia. Oh yeah, they produced it by the tons. It's a weapon against thing. Why did they have it? Because Syria. If you contaminate a field with anthrax on it, because anthrax will live a long time in the soil. The sheep come along or the goats come along and they are eating it and they get sick. And the next thing the sheep looks bad. And so what the Kurds or anybody else, the farmer would do is butcher the thing and eat the meat. Well, that would happen. The guy would die. Family would die. Good way to get rid of your enemy. And bad. Can it happen? Is anthrax here? Yes. It's found in prairie dogs. Doesn't kill the prairie dog. No, doesn't kill the prairie dogs. It's like bubonic plague is found in prairie dogs. But it's found on a small scale. But that thing, get out. But cat. Oh, come on now. Beat it. Go away. I'm talking. It's eating my hand. Really, Hillary? But I'm talking basically biologically, it is a problem. We're not prepared. Where are we? We're not prepared. Hospitals have their N95 masks, and they still have the gloves. And if you don't replace your gloves every year, well, actually, they do all the time because everybody wears gloves and masks. Yeah, because someone will come in with, as I said, polio, but it's been eradicated because all babies get inoculated, and those 25% of Americans who never got that thing. But it is a real problem. It's a real fear that somebody will bring in something like measles, polio, or 1,000 other diseases, an animal disease, a plant disease. And CDC is looking for plant diseases and animal diseases. Yeah, something that will affect your thing, like rabies will affect your dog and cat, or skunks. I live in the Chicago region. I don't think there's ever been. All the skunks I know don't the thing. I did see a raccoon. Do some strange stuff, and then you call the local animal control, and they come out and they capture it, and how that strange things. Regardless, it could be something it ate. But hey, that's a lot of stuff. And if you want to really find out about biological stuff, go to your local county hospital, and they got these sealed rooms of biological stickers on the doors and everything else. And that's one of the things that almost part of the thing is you get the immigrants who come into a hospital, they test them. They have a doctor who looks directly at them, no matter where they're coming from, because you want to know what their health status is. You don't want someone coming into this country with Ebola. It's only a plane away. And COVID-19, it's only a plane shot away. It's still ravishing around. But that's biological defense. Oh, by the way, the CDC will put on here, because automatically on this thing you will see a little notice on top of the my video with CDC. It's almost automatically how I word my title on this. You will see the thing on that thing. What they all have to do. If you ever look at This Week in Biology, it's always on top of their stuff, because it deals with medical. And I hear the Republican Party is after some of the CDC and health department, which most of the Republican Party has no idea what's protecting them. Strange Republicans. Yeah, I guess they're still into rattles, smoke, beads, chicken bones. Are you saying the Republican Party are backward? They used to really be on top of everything. Not anymore.